How's it going, guys? This is the Experienced Optimist, and today I want to talk about how to use the military to escape the plantation. For all you guys who may not be aware, I was in the Air Force, and looking back, I should have retired in the Air Force after 20 years. Had I retired in the Air Force, I'd be in Brazil right now, relaxing, taking it easy. But today, this video is going to be how to use the military to escape the plantation. If you follow this advice, you'll be able to escape the corporate plantation, which we all hate. You'll have marvelous experiences worth their weight in gold as you travel overseas to Europe, places like that. You'll carve out your own path in life. You'll shape your future the way you want, and you'll avoid many of the simps and manginas as a result. So as we all know, men are seen as disposable resources. Many military men are seen as disposable. However, if you follow this advice, what we're going to do is we're going to flip that paradigm so that you, the MGTOW man, can come out ahead. So before you go into the military, and I would suggest you go into the Air Force. I was an Air Force guy. I enjoyed my time in the Air Force. I know other people who went to the Navy, Marines, Army. They enjoyed it as well, but I'm an Air Force guy, so I'm going to talk about the Air Force. So before you go into the Air Force, you must have a few basic prerequisites. Number one, you want to be a minimalist, meaning you have to know how to save money, live on the basics, and not get into debt. You see, most men going into the military get into debt, a lot of debt. Then they become a debt slave. Later, they become a corporate debt slave. I remember I had this one friend in the military. I went over to his house. He had a new Supra. He had new stereo equipment, new computer. His room looked fantastic. And I asked him, I said, man, how do you afford all this stuff? He was saying, I asked him, do you have any debt? He was like, no, I don't have any debt. He was basically a minimalist. He always paid off everything he bought. His Supra was paid off. All the equipment was paid off, computer paid off, everything was paid off. He was a guy who never really went out that much, but he knew the importance of saving and always staying out of debt. So you need to be able to stay out of debt. Number two, you have to understand the dangers of dating, getting married, having kids, and what that means for you and your life's path. Most men don't understand how those three things, getting married, dating, and having kids, can throw off their life's path. Next thing you know, they have kids, they get out of the military, even though they enjoyed the military, and their life sucks. If I had a nickel for every time an airman in the Air Force allowed a woman to sabotage his progress, I'd be retired, sipping Mai Tais somewhere in the south of France. No lie. There's a guy that I work with right now, Air Force Reserves. His dream is to move to San Diego. You know why he can't move to San Diego? He has a woman. Now, this woman cheated on him. He found out about it. He ended up cheating on her. They have a kid together. He wants to move to San Diego. She doesn't want to move. Now, this guy is a pretty decent looking guy. He has a good job. Pretty decent benefits. Of course, he also has benefits with the Air Force Reserves. This woman came back, crawling back to him. Now, we all know as MGTOW men that this was a chameleon move. She came back to him and said, I want to raise the kids together. I want to have this traditional relationship. Translation, she couldn't do it without him. She'll probably end up cheating on him again. He has a job. She can't do much better than him at the moment. So therefore, she's going to try to grovel and get back with him. Now he can't move to San Diego because he wants to make it work with this woman. If he didn't have a kid, if he didn't have this woman, he would be able to move right now and live out his dream in San Diego. See where I'm going here? So don't let those things put you off your game and your life's path. Okay. Now the third one, you have to be willing to be patient. To achieve this plan that I'm talking about, you'll have to retire in the military. Some people are like, retire in the military? That's 20 years. What? Now, if you follow this advice, you'll have a great career. You'll retire early and you'll be able to move outside the U.S. where living expenses are far cheaper. Or you can stay in the U.S. and work on another retirement. It's all up to you. It's all what you decide as a MGTOW man going their own way. Now, I knew 3 guys who have like a military retirement. One guy, people laughed at him. They said, why stay in the military? You're not making a lot of money. This guy retired in the Air Force, lived in Spain, knows how to speak Spanish now, enjoyed a ton of experiences over in Europe. I think he later retired from Lockheed, Boeing, one of those. Now he's laughing at them. He has a double retirement. The only reason why he works now is because he's bored. He has nothing to do. Makes a ton of money. He never has to work again in his life. Another guy was an Air Force guy. He retired Air Force. And now he's collecting another retirement from the company I work at right now. Laughing all the way to the bank. The third guy, same thing. He was enlisted, I believe. But same thing. Doesn't have to work again in his life. No more corporate wage slave for them. So you have to be patient, right? Now, let's say you decide to go into the military. You want to go into the Air Force. How do you get started? The first thing you want to do is you want to ace the military entrance exam called the ASVAB. Experience Optimist. What's the ASVAB? The ASVAB is a SAT-like test that measures your aptitude. The higher you score on the test, the more jobs you have to pick from if you go enlisted in the Air Force. Now, I don't care what you have to do. Get all the ASVAB study materials you need, hire an ASVAB consultant, hire an ASVAB tutor. I don't care what you need to do. Just make sure you score high on this test. The higher you score, the better choices of jobs you will have. So that's the first thing you need to do once you decide to go into the military, into the Air Force. What's the second thing you need to do? All right. Once you ace the ASVAB and you are selecting the type of job you want, make sure you do the following. Look for a job that requires a secret and top secret security clearance. Remember this. I'm going to say this again because this is important. Look for a job that requires a secret and top secret security clearance. Preferably a top secret clearance and above. But any secret clearance is adequate. Why do I say this? I say this because companies pay big money for secret security clearances for applicants that they want to hire. I think right now it may be 50 grand per clearance, if not more, that the companies pay for. So if you come out of the military with a secret security clearance, a top secret security clearance and above, man, a lot of companies will hire you just like that. Not only do secret security clearance give you a big advantage, and this is the good part here, a lot of employers will pay you good money if you have one. So make sure the job you have comes with a secret security clearance. Number 2, and this is crucial, yet again, pick a job that has a lot of duty locations overseas and cool locations like Germany, Spain, and Japan. And make sure you do not pick a job where you're in the middle of a war zone. Remember, men are disposable. A lot of people in the military look at men as disposable. They'll throw you on they'll throw you in the middle of some conflict. So make sure you pick a job, secret security clearance, and it's in a cool location like Germany, Spain, Japan. Make the military work for you, not the other way around. Now, Europe is ideal since so many countries are so close together. So during your military career, you'll have experiences, and listen to this, that most men will only dream about. And trust me on this. This is true. I can tell you when it comes to life, it is the experiences that make the man and what makes life enjoyable. Many men have told me this, and this is absolutely true. Number 3, and this is just as important as picking a job outside the United States. If you have to leave the military for any reason, you want to make sure you pick a job in something technical like electronics, radar tech in the medical field, radiology tech in the medical field, X-ray, those type of guys, or anything related to electrical engineering. You want to pick something that's of high demand outside the military, just in case you want to get out. This is part of your plan B. Now, I hear that working on electronics, the C-130s, back when I was working on C-130s was the way to go. These guys went everywhere. They went to the Middle East. They went to Spain, Germany. These guys went everywhere, and they were always dressed in a pilot jumpsuit. So a lot of women think that they're pilots, so they throw themselves at these guys. Funny story, let me tell you. I had a buddy who went to tech school. Went to tech school with him. He ended up working on C-130s. I met him at a air show. And, this pretty boy, Puerto Rican dude, I think. And I'm like, hey, man, what's going on, man? Long time no see. He's like, yeah, man, what's going on? I'm like, dude, you dress up like a pilot. What's up? What do you do? He's like, yeah, I work on C-130s or whatever. I was like, man, I bet a lot of girls throw themselves at you, man. And then he looks at me. Now, I may have mentioned this in another video. This guy looks at me. He's like, man, I get tired of all these women throwing themselves at me, man. I mean, it just becomes, sometimes I want to avoid women because they're always trying to jump my bones. And I was like, really? And the dude was being dead serious. He was always like a cool dude, a pretty boy, one of those nice pretty boy type guys. So that's one of the things in the military you'll notice, like once you go overseas, especially, you'll have all sorts of great experiences. You'll meet a lot of women, but you don't want to, like I said before, you don't want to let women throw you off your path. As a MGTOW man, you must stay focused. All right. So number 3, once you get the ASVAB worked out, you pick the job, you get your security clearance worked out. Now, this is where a ton of guys fuck up. They fuck up right here. What do? They decide to go in open contract. Well, experienced Optimist, what's open contract? When you go in open contract, that means that you have decided to let the military, aka the Air Force, choose what job they give you. Remember male disposability? If the military gives you the job that they want, you'll be digging ditches. Remember, you are a man, a MGTOW man, and you understand your value. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure the job that you pick is on the military contract before you go to boot camp. All right. So now, once you get in and you go through basic training, this is for enlisted. I'll probably do another video for the officer guys who want to go get their degree and then go into the officer ranks. Once you do that, basic training is like 8 weeks. You go to tech school. You do your tech school. Then you get a duty station. Hopefully you'll be overseas. If it's not overseas, make sure that at some point in your Air Force career, you can get overseas. I remember there was this one guy, Sergeant Little. He was probably going to retire at E8. But this guy got an LOR, which was, he got reprimanded when he was younger. And he could have quit, got out of the military. But he stayed in there, ended up, I think he actually lost one of his stripes too when he was younger. But anyway, he ended up going to all the cool places. Hawaii, Spain, Germany, everywhere cool, he went. The guy had a ton of life experience. So keep that in mind. Make sure you get overseas. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, so now that you're in, you're past tech school, you're doing okay, you're living life, you're saving money, you're not spending a whole lot of money, you're focused. For your military career, now you have 3 goals now that you're in. Number 1, enlisted, you want to make it to E7 before 20 years. Why do I say E7? Because at E7, when you get out, you make over $3,000 a month from the military for your retirement. Like I said, if you're a minimalist, you can move somewhere. I remember I was checking recently, because Spain has a lot of, commercial overgrowth because they were just building over there. There's a lot of nice condos over there in Spain on the beach for $1,000 and a little bit below. So I could have went over there and lived in Spain for a couple months, and then maybe travel to a place that's a little bit cheaper, maybe Fortaleza, Brazil, maybe even Rio. You know, some places maybe in Eastern Europe, and live pretty good. So that's what you want to do. E7 and above, 20 years. Officer rankings, you want to go 04 and above. I think 04 is like $5,000 a month. So above that, which is lieutenant, no, 04 is major. 04 is major. 05, I think, is lieutenant colonel. So you're going to be above $5,000. You're probably going to be looking at, let me see, I have a calculator right now. I think it's like, let's say 5,800, something like that. All right. So now, if you do not allow yourself to get shanghaied by women, kids, and debt, when you get out, you can move to a nice low-cost area and enjoy your early retirement. Or you can jump back into a rat race. I don't recommend this, but the choice is up to you. All right. So the second thing you want to do is you want to get a degree. Preferably a degree in engineering. Why? Because there are always jobs that are plentiful in engineering. However, this is a plan B option at best. A word to the wise, and I know this through experience, engineering in the corporate world is full of simps. Excuse me, simps and mangianas. I would say even super simps, white knights, the whole nine. And a lot of guys, once you talk about MGTOW, red pill and all that stuff, they'll try to sabotage you just for the mere whiff of some vagina, because there's so many men and so many little women in these fields. So watch out for that. So number 3, and this is most important you want to do during your military career, you want to travel, travel, travel. I'm going to say that again. You want to travel, travel, travel. Take this time to travel and experience as much as you can. The reason why most men die unhappy is because they never take any risks and experience anything. I remember some older gentlemen, I mentioned this earlier, they told me that experiences make life worth living. And they were right. They were right when I was 20, and they're doubly right now that I'm over 40. So travel and experience as much life to be lived when you're young. So that's basically it. So this advice takes military men's disposability and flips it on its head and puts you in the driver's seat. If you follow this advice, I guarantee you will be ahead of the curve. Let me tell you something, guys. There is nothing like camaraderie that you experience in the military. Camaraderie amongst men is priceless. This is why the gynocracy is always trying to divide and conquer men. When men have camaraderie, they build one another up, they support one another, and they find ways around the gynocracy, which most of the time the gynocracy is not having. That's why the gynocracy always uses class, race, all this other bullshit to divide men. Take the time when you're in the military to use camaraderie as your advantage while you're in the military, because, and remember this, because when you get out, you'll be hard pressed to find the same camaraderie outside the military. I've experienced this myself, and I can't say enough positive things about camaraderie in the military. But if you like this video, give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, support other MGTOW channels. Go on over to my Sunfrog account and purchase a couple t-shirts if you want to. You can also support me through PayPal and become a patron. Remember, this is about MGTOW men going their own way, supporting other men. And I'll talk to you later, guys. How's it going, guys? This is the